Like the first time you're out there by yourself, like trying to disarm one of these, were you ever just like, what in the hell am I doing?
No, that would come after the fact. That would be like you really do have. I was 24 years old.
What the fuck?
Listen, yeah, I get it,
How'd I get
bro.
myself
get
into
it.
this?
This podcast was brought to you by Outsider. Check us out at www.outsider.com. Outsider is an outdoor lifestyle brand owned and operated by me, retired Navy SEAL Sam Mackey, and my dear friend and former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler. At Outsider, we encourage everyone to get outside and enjoy all that life has to offer. Head over to outsider.com to check out our unique patent-pending drinkware. Outsider's drinkware can be customized with your personal or business logo. Go to outsider.com, upload your logo, and we will send you visual proofs and great wholesale pricing. And don't forget, get outside and enjoy all that life has to offer. Welcome back to the Take It Outside podcast, where we talk all things outdoors and just getting outside in general where life happens. I'm your host, Sam Mackey, and as always, I have my co-host, Smokin' Jay Cutler. Today, we are joined by Joey Jones, Marine veteran, combat wounded EOD tech, Fox News contributor, best-selling author, and host of Fox Nation Outdoors. Joey's life is one of resilience and service. After losing both legs in Afghanistan, he turned his recovery into a mission to help others, veterans, first responders, and anyone facing adversity. He's built a voice that reaches millions, whether it's through television, his book, Unbroken Bonds of Battle, or by taking other veterans into the outdoor space. Here he is, Joey Jones.
Oh, I like that.
Let's hold on.
You know, you're reading those off, and I'm like, are all of those accolades or some of those penalties? You know, it's like,
So I appreciate you coming on, bud.
yeah. Thanks for having me. This is really cool.
Thank you. I shot that bear behind you in Maine.
Really?
One of my pride and joys, yeah.
Man, I've been on a bear hunt in Maine twice. I haven't killed a bear yet.
Really?
Yeah, it's a touchy subject.
Where in Maine?
I've got some touchy subjects about Maine
I bet
too.
you do, yeah. Well, let's see. The first one, both of them actually, is like north of Presque Isle, so like heading up towards Quebec almost. I can't remember the name of the town. There's an organization up there. The second one I was able to take, actually, some of the guys from this book that we'll talk about, I was able to take some first responders and vets up there. And there's this guy named Dave Hintosh. And one of the guys in the book is a Maine game warden that I met on my moose hunt with Dave up there. And I got to kill a bull moose. And so a couple years later, I took these guys up there to do a black bear hunt. And Dave has an organization called Veterans of Field Foundation. And it's just really good people. They do it right. It's small, which I like. And there's not a lot of pomp and circumstance at all. It's just, let's go kill some animals. And my problem... I took my brother-in-law with me. He's been a fireman for 30 years, and like he's just got this golden horseshoe inserted in just the right spot. You know, I took all these guys up there, and only one of us that was with me killed a bear, and it was him. And that's every hunting trip we do. If somebody's going to kill a trophy, or if only one person's going to get it, he does. I think he just puts out the right energy. I don't know.
You know, that was the second bear I've ever killed. I killed one in Virginia.
Yeah.
And hunted real hard to get that one. And then heard about this outfitter up in Maine. And I went up there. It was in Caribou, Maine, so right on the Canadian border. And this guy, he was telling me everything I needed to do, like soup to nuts. He's like, hey, don't wear the clothes that you're hunting with inside, hang up outside, all the scent provision, and everything of that nature. Don't look at your phone because the blue light could bounce off your face. The bears could see that.
You're hunting over bait?
Correct.
How far?
100 yards. And
So the way Dave does the bait is he makes these bait bags and hangs them in a tree.
really,
And the reason why is he's like, there's so much ground shrinkage. He's like, you're trying to measure the height for the maturity.
So you want to get them standing up.
So he wants them standing up, and then you
smart.
shoot them in the tee right here.
It's really smart.
Done.
in the back?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the bag made out of?
What's that?
What's the bag made out of that they hang?
It's like a plastic bag, like a garbage bag, but I don't know what bait he puts in there. It's not all just a bunch of like donuts and syrup. You know, it's like fermented fruit, and he tries to find stuff that
got a couple holes in it, let it leak a little bit.
Yeah, and just try to like make it something that's more similar to their diet rather than bringing in a bunch of. He's a little bit more of a purist. I mean, you're still baiting, and sometimes a year he'll do a scent burner, so he'll burn like a maple scent.
I've heard of this before.
Yeah.
I've never seen seen an application or never tried it.
So Dave was the wildlife biologist in the state of Maine for black bear and moose. Got, retired from that and became an outfitter. And then having several veterans come hunt, he's like, you know what? I don't need much. My place is paid off. I'm going to do this for veterans and first responders. That's how I met him. So he's very skillful.
He's amazing.
A cool dude.
I'm batting 1,000 in Maine. Jay's batting 0.
Over 1. I did a moose hunt and did not see a moose.
I'm telling you, man, they're sneaky critters, and they're not as it's not like deer hunting.
No.
I mean, you'll see a moose and that one's not big enough. We'll go see this other one that's close by that we've been tracking, and you're like 7 miles away.
Oh yeah, we covered some ground.
Yeah.
We were there for 5-6 days. I bet we walked 60-70 miles.
Really?
They literally had to.
We were cruising.
Were you walking more moose hunting than you do elk hunting, you think?
On that trip we did.
Really?
But, because we couldn't find a moose, so to save our life.
It's a swamp.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is they're swamp creatures.
Oh, it's just
they're not
bogs.
Yeah.
It's just nasty, wet, just uneven. It's not.
I would love to go moose hunting.
I'm not going to go in Maine again, but I want to go somewhere.
We got to do ours during the rut, so they're calling. And what's cool about the moose is you have a cow call and a I guess you would call it a buck, I don't know, a bull call. And so I had a game warden, Dave, the main guy, and then I had a state patrolman. And to be any type of law enforcement in Maine, you got to know the wildlife because it is a wilderness.
Yeah.
So one of them's over here using a scapula to sound like the antlers scraping.
Raking.
Then another one's over here making a bull call, and then Dave is the main bait. He's making a cow call, and he's over and in this kind of culvert by a logging road, and we heard the moose coming in from this little hilltop. Where I'm from in Georgia, it's a mountain, but there it's a hilltop, And he's coming down this just washout towards this logging road, and Dave's over here making this cow call, and it's like, if I didn't know he knew what he was doing, I'd think it was complete bullshit. Because it is the funkiest sound you've ever heard.
What's it sound like?
I don't even know. It's kind of a drawn out moan. It's hard to explain. You can just splice in that because I'm not even going to try. There's no way.
We were trying to get you to get
No way. Listen. But Dave is serious. He's like, now when that moose gets on that road, I'm gonna need you to kill it, because if it gets any further, he's gonna be after me.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, it's seriously Dave was in this hole probably 20 yards from where I shot that moose. It was a cool experience. And I asked him, I was like, man, how'd you get into moose hunting? He's like, because I can't hunt turkey all year. He's a big turkey hunter. And it's that whole cat and mouse chasing game.
Yep.
What type of rifle did you use, or what caliber?
I used, and they all made fun of me. When you have legs like this, you're not backpacking a lot, so it doesn't matter how heavy my gun is. And so I had a 300 Win Mag that was made by Bergara down in Georgia when they had a custom shop. So it's actually a Stiller action, and I just put at the time I didn't have Fox News money, so I just put whatever synthetic stock I could find on it. I got that at a deal. And then I had this Gen 1 silencer co-suppressor. So you put all this together with a heavy scope on it, weighed 20 pounds.
That thing is not light.
Yeah, and so I had all those guys that were helping took turns carrying the gun, because half the time they were carrying me. They had to put me on their back and carry me across the washouts and stuff. And so since then it's been fixed up and lightened. But what's crazy is I hit that thing 3 times.
Really?
Because they didn't want it to fall off of the logging road, because then they had to carry it back up. So it was broadside to the right, shot it right in the heart, or right in the lungs actually. Turned towards me, he's like, hit it again. So I shot it right in the sternum. And then he turned back the other way and it's still standing. He said, shoot it again. All 3 shots hit vitals. But it took all 3 for it to finally say, whatever, I'll give up.
They're big animals.
They are huge.
Tough too.
How tall was yours standing up?
He was.
Are they 6 foot? I've never seen one in real life.
I'd say their shoulder is up there. I mean, it's kind of like a horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super long legs. They look weird because their legs are so long. But I mean, the bodies are big too. It's a big animal.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's a really big animal.
Did you grow up hunting in Georgia?
Around it. It was the culture I grew up in. My youngest uncle, so my grandfather was a moonshiner. And my youngest uncle picked up the mantle of race car driver, right? So he raced dirt track. And it's that kind of very much that quintessential, my grandfather learned how to soup up a 50-something model Ford that had 2 or 3 gas tanks in the
So
trunk
we're running
full of
booze.
moonshine. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
And he was from
Booze
a
and
town,
race cars.
It's so funny. So he was in a town called LJ, Georgia, and that's in the mountains, and that's where my dad was born. And the way the story goes, and you always say it that way because you know you don't know, but the story I always heard is there were 2 entities up there that wanted to get into his moonshine business, the KKK and the Dixie Mafia, and he didn't want to be associated with either one of them. And he would run it from LJ down to Atlanta. And back then, like in the 50s especially, they didn't have the radios and GPS. So when you talk about running from the sheriff to the county line, it's because he didn't have jurisdiction and he was probably competing against the other sheriff to get that business. So they weren't going to play friendly. So if you got to the county line, you really were free. And so my papa did that as a young kid. And so later on in life, my youngest uncle, later on in my grandfather's life, my youngest uncle took that knowledge they learned on working on engines and became a dirt track race car driver. And every Sunday it was a family affair, man. Wherever he was racing, we were there. And that was almost all year. So there wasn't a lot of...
Was it all over the Southeast or mostly in
Southeast. Yeah, I mean, we were in Northwest Georgia and we went as far as North Carolina, Mississippi. We didn't make it to Florida. There's not as much... You get into certain areas of the country and those dirt late models don't exist. It's open wheel modifieds. Same sport, a little bit different car. So mainly Southeast, yeah.
And what made you want to join the Marine Corps?
Oh, man. I guess the best answer is my 2 best friends talked me into it. I graduated high school with a 2.7 GPA, and that's because they were feeling friendly.
2-0 and go, baby.
That'll
you,
work.
You're passing. You're walking all day.
I'm telling you, man. You know, the king of I passed. You know, and so college was there, and what's so dumb, I always beat myself up. We had the Hope Scholarship in Georgia, which was huge. Back then, it paid for everything. All you needed was a 3.0.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got the scholarship. You get a 3.0. You go to college for
school.
free.
You go to a state school. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And Florida had something similar. Texas had something similar. And so I was like, well, let me do a semester at the community college, get my GPA up and use that. And I just wanted to work and earn money. My dad was a brick and block mason. I'd worked outside. I wanted to do anything but work outside. So I was working in a carpet mill because Dalton, Georgia is where they make all the carpet, like literally all the carpet.
Really?
Yep. And
I know that.
Well, and it's not a big a thing to brag about anymore.
Yeah.
People aren't shagging their living rooms.
No, the carpet. Yeah, no one has carpet anymore.
I had
That's
a
right.
1965 Coupe de Ville, and I put shag carpet in the trunk.
What color? What color carpet?
White.
Gosh.
Yeah. So my 215 subwoofers could sit on top of it.
That's
Yeah.
where was this?
It's in California.
Take a little vibration.
Like
Take a little vibration out.
Absolutely.
some little Cheech and Chong inspired fashion there.
Yeah. But, I drive around a little bit of Georgia. Didn't even know it.
No, it's so funny.
So in community college, did you know what you wanted to do, or you're just trying to get your
No,
GPA up?
I was just like, it's this or work more, you know? Like, and so anyway, I ended up dropping out of college to go from third shift to first shift and make $4 an hour more. And my 2 best friends, they both had a career military dad, and they were eventually going to make their way in the military. And they're like, dude, you got to get your head out of this. Like, just join the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? That's as good a plan as any. And I went to like the Army, and they were like, we'll pay for your college when you get out. I went to the Air Force, and they're like, we'll teach you a trade skill you'll use when you get out. I went to the Navy, and they were like, you can live on the most beautiful beaches in the world. And I went to the Marine Corps, and he was like, you probably don't have what it takes, but you can try.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm going to prove that guy wrong. Like they hook, line, and sinker, man.
What a good technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For recruiting,
You're not good enough for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're probably not. You probably don't have what it takes, but you can try. And that was all it took for me. I mean, it's 2005, right? We're in the middle of a war, and it's like they needed every body they could get, but they still acted that way, and it worked.
Now, how did you decide on EOD? Did you even know about EOD when you joined?
No, Marine Corps is a little bit different. It's the smallest branch of service. And,
Part of the Navy.
What's that?
Part of the Navy.
Are you on an education on that real quick?
No, I do not.
Okay. The Marine Corps falls under the Department of the Navy, as does the branch of service, the Navy. Does that make sense? They both fall under the Secretary of the Navy.
Got it.
But they're co-equal branches.
I did not know that.
That sounds very DEI, doesn't it?
Co-equal.
Co-equal. There's a lot of co-equal branches. But no, anyway, we're Navy and Marine Corps are fully intertwined.
Absolutely.
2005, it's like they'll take every body they can get, and the Marine Corps is a little bit different. EOD bomb techs were a big part of the war. since 2003.
Absolutely.
But in the Marine Corps, because they have to pay the Navy to educate you in EOD, and it's pretty expensive because Navy runs the EOD school on an Air Force base. And so they won't let you just come in off the street to be an EOD tech. You have to be 21 years old. You have to laterally move into it in your second enlistment. And so the Marine Corps at the time, when I joined in 2005, the Marine Corps didn't have special operations. They were just starting it.
Yep.
Because their idea was our MAGTAF, the group of Marines we put on a ship, is a special force. So that was their mentality. And then 2001 happens, and everybody goes to Afghanistan except for the Marine Corps because it's a SOCOM mission. And that's bad publicity for the first to fight. So they're like, okay, we have to have something special operations. So they went back and forth over what that would be. And really what you had in the Marine Corps was you had recon, counter intel, and EOD. Those were your critical skills operators. And it's like, how much of that do we bring into SOCOM, or what do we do? And so they decided on recon being SOCOM. And so they made recon MSOB, or one of the recon battalions, Marine Special Operations Battalion. And they left EOD kind of in this like very ambiguous role where we're like the redheaded stepchildren of the Marine Corps, and which we ended up taking advantage of and loving, because you don't want a bunch of grunts in charge of you when you're EOD, like not in charge of your training and all that, because they're going to have you standing watch and doing the grunt stuff. So when I went into EOD, it was like the Wild West of the Marine Corps, man. No rules. Everybody went by their first name. And if you can just not get blown up, you're going to have respect. It was cool.
Well, you got blown up. No.
Yeah, I know. And we digress.
So, I'd love to hear the story behind, how you lost your legs, if you're willing to tell that.
Yeah, no, I don't mind to tell it. I tell it a lot.
Because I heard you speak at the event in Dallas last year. You were the keynote speaker, and you told the whole story, and then about how you lost. How you got blown up and you lost your legs, and about your friend, that died that day. And it's a deep, touching story. And I'd like to hear that, and then hear about your book as well.
Well, I like to say I'm batting 1,000 on IEDs. I just bunted that last one, Generally speaking, you want to take them apart very carefully. I just walked right over that last one. So if you to paint the picture, if you go to Afghanistan in 2010, the mission was really odd because President Obama had just said that summer, hey, we're going to pull all the troops out next year. So the idea, like the Taliban has this saying they use a lot: you have the watch, but we have the time. So you can have all the gear and bring in this war. We're just going to wait you out. And so and so the idea that President Obama had was, they're not going to come after us if I say we're leaving. They're just going to let us leave because they'll fall in and they'll own it. And so it was a strategic retreat is what it was going to be. Of course, you're advertising it as we've won the war because it's 2010. You're coming up in the midterms, and you're looking for something to work in politics at home domestically. So that's why he said it. And so, but what happened was the Afghan National Forces had done well enough, especially like in the area where they grew poppy, which is what they make opium out of. And at the time, that was like 90-something% of the black market opium in the world came from that Helmand Farah province. And so what happened was the Taliban made the decision that as the Americans or NATO pull back, we're going to fight to keep it so that the Afghan National Forces don't fall in with their gear and hold it. And now we're fighting a war still. So in 2010, the Taliban doubled down and came after us as we were trying to shrink our footprint. And so we thought it was going to be a relatively easy deployment. No, there were IEDs everywhere the whole time. And so 6 months into the deployment, right there about 5 months into the deployment, we got asked to go down and take a town called Safar Bazaar, which was this like staging post for the Taliban. Most of our forces were along the Afghan green zone, which is different than the Iraqi green zone. In Iraq, green zone meant, hey, this is an area you can take your PPE off. This is safe. In Afghanistan, the green zone was, if you looked at a map, this is what's green. And it's basically half mile on each side of a river, in the Helmand River. And so basically there's this town that was out in the desert. We had left it alone because it wasn't in our strategic operating area. And it was a hospital, a command post, and IED manufacturing for the Taliban. But it was a civilian town called Safar Bazaar. So the idea was, if we go take this town, we cut off all of those assets, we cut them off upstream from getting up through the river valley. And so when I first got to Afghanistan, they went down to do it. I don't remember why. They called it off. And I guess that was Operation Roadhouse. So only Marines would do this. We're going to do Operation Roadhouse 2. It's like, if it failed the first time, at least give it a second name, right?
Rename this thing.
I mean, I love Patrick Swayze as much as everybody, but and so
Roadhouse 2 wasn't bad. Was it called Roadhouse 2?
Well, they did the remake.
The remake was just Roadhouse?
Yeah, it was. It was just Roadhouse.
I didn't mind the remake. Was it just Roadhouse, Ben?
It was just Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2010. This was before that was even
thought.
conceptualized.
Yeah.
So anyway, to kind of shorten the story up, we go in to take this town and Operation Roadhouse 2. We take it pretty easily. We let them know we're coming because we don't want the collateral damage. And rather than like shooting, PGs, RPGs at us, they're just making a minefield out of this town.
How did you let them know that you were coming?
Counterintelligence,
Yeah.
and then we sent what's called a feint, which is basically we sent a route clearance, like a skeletonized route clearance convoy down the main road that went into the town. And so that all of their spies' eyes would see us coming. And then we actually came in from the eastern desert. So we were trying to kind of come in their back door. We thought they would see that convoy coming down Route Cowboys and say, hey, they're coming. Let's go out the back door. And as they came out the back door, we would intercept them and get some bad guys out of it. But we let them know for months that we were coming to get all the civilians out of there. And mainly human intelligence, just broadcasting it. Hey, we're about to do this op.
Yep.
So we gave them a lot of time to set up all the...
That's the thing, right? If you're General so-and-so,
Yeah.
you gave the civilians a lot of time to get out of town.
Yep.
If you're Staff Sergeant or at the time Sergeant Johnny Jones, all I'm thinking is, well, if they make IEDs there, they're going to put those IEDs in the ground. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly what happened. Like to give you perspective, I mean, I got injured before this count was finalized, but in the first month, they found 207 operable IEDs in 2 square kilometers, which is, a pretty dense populated IED zone.
They were everywhere back then, man.
Yeah.
It was dangerous.
And what was so funny is the Afghan IEDs were simpler, super simple, not a lot of circuit cards and IR and all this other stuff.
Compared to the Iraq. Yep.
Iraq, they had like when we were fighting Al Qaeda, that was a global jihad. You didn't know who you were fighting in Iraq. They might be from Syria. They might be from Germany. These are people that go on jihad. So you had a lot of doctors and engineers that were supporting that. And they had access to more technology. And so the IEDs in Iraq were pretty complex.
Yeah.
But if you've ever played the game Mousetrap, the more components you put in there, the more opportunity for something to not work. But if you just simple it down to like a flashlight you buy at the dollar store, right? That's a loop circuit. Unless something comes apart, that thing's going to work every time. And so I don't know if it was out of necessity or if it was a different strategy, but the IEDs in Afghanistan were super simple and because of that, super effective.
Were they pressure plate mainly? RC?
They evolved.
Yeah.
So I would say, types of IEDs, I'd say in the 90% pressure plate, different types. And then, which is called victim operated. And then you're looking at 5 to 10% command initiated. And that might be literally like YA Coyote, a command wire ran and they connect the circuit. Or it might be what we call a pull pin. So think of a clothespin. So you put your positive lead up top, your negative on the bottom, and then you put a piece of wood there. And when you pull that wood out, those leads connect and it makes your loop circuit. Well, you can use that one of two ways. You can make a tripwire out of it. You can run that, the string attached to the wood, you can run it across a path, or you can make it a command to where you run it the other way and you pull it yourself. So we found some of those. And then the most complicated, which we didn't find a lot of, but several in my area, are remote control.
Yeah.
And you just buy these project boards off of Amazon that like kids use in high school to learn how circuit cards work. And you just use an SER or a relay or remote signal, and you can do all kind of stuff with those.
The ones I saw, because we hit quite a bit of them, and thankfully we had one day in a side-by-side and it went low order. But 2 pieces of wood, I believe there's a piece of foam or a mattress or something in between there.
Wrapped up in tape?
Yep. And that way, when you stepped on it, it completed the circuit.
You want me to explain it to you?
Yeah.
So what they did is the D-cell batteries we have here are different technology, but the D-cell batteries over there had these carbon rods in them that were about as long as the battery and about, a centimeter around.
Mm-hmm.
And so those carbon rods will conduct electricity, but they don't have a metallic signature. So if you take 2 pieces of wood and then you put foam to separate them that can be condensed, then you take those carbon rods and you glue them down or attach them to the wood. The bottom piece of wood, you'll put them parallel, and the top piece of wood, you'll put them perpendicular. So if they're 3 inches long, you've got a 3-inch cross section, right? Then you'll take lamp cord, which is just 2-strand cord, and you'll run that copper wire in there, and you'll weave it around those carbon rods, and then you'll run that lamp cord out, and it'll basically make a big giant loop. So you run it out to like 8 D-cell batteries soldered together, and it'll come back in on the other side of the strand, and it'll go to your main charge, which is a plastic jug with an improvised blasting cap in it. So if you're on this walking path and you've got a jug in the ground made out of plastic, and then you've got a wooden pressure plate with carbon rods, none of that will ping with a metal detector. So what they did is they circumvented our number one tool, which is metal detection. The only thing with a metallic signature is your power source. Well, if you solder enough of those D-cell batteries together, they'll overcome the resistance and drag of being sent 30 yards that way, and they'll last forever. So if I'm metal detecting for a bomb in the road, I don't metal detect the road. There's no metallic signature. I have to look around and say, if I were going to bury a power source, where would I bury it? Oh, maybe underneath that tree over there.
Jeez.
And so it's a chess game.
What they did to us in one of the valleys in Afghanistan is they put shards of metal throughout the whole valley.
Yep.
And that way our EOD guys would be out there, and every 5 step, and like we can't do shit with this. Yeah. And so we just walked single file and hope for the best.
We would put out bad intel. So like when I first got there, they were using they would take tires like off trailers, and they would cut a section of it out, because it makes kind of like a bubble pop, because it's that tire has that round butt you can push down. And they would take that tire and they would nail it to a piece of board, and they'd have a piece of metal here and a piece of metal there and on the tire and the board. And when they connected, they would complete the circuit. They would also use stovepipe for a main charge because it makes a frag shell. So they'd take a piece of stovepipe and they'd fill it full of explosives. Then they would wrap that in rubber like a tire, like the insert of a tire, a tube. Because we put out that the rubber stopped the metal detector from working. And we did that because we would rather have frag-producing main charges that we could find than non-frag-producing main charges we couldn't find. And so when I first got to Afghanistan, they had metal in them, but they thought we couldn't use a metal detector to find them. And so eventually, first the pressure plates changed, and then the main charges changed.
Were there any or ever any EFPs found in Afghanistan?
I don't have the answer to that. It wasn't a part of my immediate. So every time you work an IED, you write a report on it.
Yeah.
That report goes into a system, and if you're a good tech or even a good team leader, you go and read those reports if you have access to them to see like, hey, what are they trying to kill me with around here? And how do they set it up? Because we have our battle lines, but they have different battle lines. So like, me as an EOD team, I might be working IEDs made by the same guy that EOD team's working, so I can learn something from them. I don't remember seeing any EFPs.
What's an EFP?
I was just about to explain. So it's an improvised shaped charge. I don't know what EFP actually stands for.
Explosive formed charge.
Yeah.
So it's using properties of physics to create a better result. So for example, what you do is it's like a platter charge. So what it is it takes a piece of metal usually that's concave, like a
martini glass.
Yeah. And then you form explosives around it. And what happens is there's 2 types. There's Mizne-Chardin and Monroe effect, and I'll explain both. So an EFP, what it does is it brings a bigger punch. And so those explosives bevel that from being concave to convex, and it brings a bigger punch, like a sabot round almost. It brings more kinetic energy with it, and it can be incredibly destructive. An anti-tank round takes that, what looks like a contact lens turned backwards, and it makes it a martini glass. It makes it a full cone, usually made out of copper. You form explosives around that, and what happens then is when those explosives collapse that cone, it kind of like squeezes it out. And it turns that copper, it turns the air inside that copper actually into plasma, and it'll burn through armor. Shit. And so like an anti-tank round or even most of those RPGs that look like a football, However deep your cone is, you usually need 1.5 times that for standoff. So it needs to explode. So if that's an 8-inch deep cone, you need 12 inches of standoff when it goes off. And what happens is that's how much room you need for that to collapse and create this plasma jet, is what we call it, that'll burn through armor, and it brings a shit ton of kinetic energy with it as well. So one of them is a hard punch, and the other one's a cut.
And they would hang him from light post, and or prop him up on something to be in line with the doors of the Humvees or the, MRAPs or, whatever up armored vehicle that you're driving around in. And I've never seen videos or seen this in real life, but I'm sure you have more knowledge behind this than I do. When that, that liquid magma goes through, and it creates I've been told it creates a suction or a vapor and could potentially suck someone out that hole.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was a heat round or a Sabo, but the idea is they put a goat inside of one of these troop carriers and they shot it with some sort of armor penetrating round, and it had so much energy with it that it sucked the goat out the other side. Sure. And I don't remember if I saw it or if it just was explained to me, but that's the example they give.
That's the exact same one I heard. I just have no context or,
I don't need, that's the thing about I remember it vividly being told that. I don't remember if anybody ever explained why.
Yeah.
But the idea is you're using less explosives than you would think to create a larger effect. So you're using physics to force multiply the kinetic energy. And a Sabo round is even simpler. So you take a long javelin and you cut ribs in it so that when it hits, each one of those ribs collapses. But they do it so quickly that's like, rather than one punch from a 10-pound piece of metal, you're getting 18 punches from a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6-pound metal. Gotcha. You're force multiplying it. As it collapses so fast, it punches through.
Let's go build some bombs.
I'm telling you, man. We're in the wrong business. We need to go to Ukraine.
So you're let everyone know that you're coming. And village is prime for you. All the women and children are probably left, military age males walking around, and it stinks already, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So we really didn't have anybody even walking around, because once they realized what was coming from the desert, they were like, we're out.
Yeah.
I think we had pop shots for like a day and a half.
Okay.
And what it is they would, as they retreated, they would have guns staged in different buildings, and it might be the same 8 guys. But they shoot. You find out where they are. You move to contact. They've retreated to the next set of buildings, and they're shooting from there. You don't know if it's like 2 teams of guys or 1 team of guys. Yeah. And so they did that for like the first day. As Neo-D Tech, you're not in that front of that push, right? Like you're a couple of trucks behind. You're letting the grunts go get some, and you're waiting for them to call you up for an explosive hazard. And so by the end of the first day, everybody was pretty much pushed out, and now we've got to clear our path on into the city. And so rather than like going down a road, we brought a bunch of engineers with us, and they used Mikliks, which are linear explosives, and they literally blew holes in the walls, and we drove through the buildings rather than down the street because we knew IEDs were there. And so it was fun. I mean, it was fun to watch and witness. Worked 38, 40 IEDs in those first 4 or 5 days. Mostly just whatever was around us that we needed to get where we were going to set up.
What was your average timeline to take down an ID or deconstruct it? Render it safe.
Yeah, in that environment, that's a I keep using this word kinetic. That just means like energy, like we're not taking our time. So in that environment, we were working IEDs in probably 10, 15 minutes.
You just render them safe, marking them, and moving on.
It just depends. Like in that environment specifically, I was remote pulling the main charges and throwing them in the back of the truck. Okay. Just because I didn't know if we would be back there. I wasn't the commander of the effort, and you get a CASEVAC, and now the mission's changed. If one of those trucks got blown up, we may have to worry so much about getting those guys out that we retreat and regroup. So every time I could, I'd pull material, main charge, lamp cord, power source, and switch, because I don't want to leave that on the battlefield for them to come scrap. Yeah. So for the most part, sometimes you take it apart to learn. Sometimes you take it apart because if you blow it where it sits, it's going to mess something up that you don't want messed up. And then sometimes you're doing it so that you don't leave it there. Like even blowing that main charge, if the power source is ran over there, I'm going to sweep down this lamp cord, make sure it's not booby trapped, remote move that power source and recover it as well. because I don't want to leave anything on the battlefield for the enemy. So most of those IEDs, those first few days were blow in place. And then after we got our bearings and had swept much of the area, had guys with machine guns posted for any type of contact, now we can take our time and we're going to prosecute it, which means we're going to take pictures of it as it sits. We're going to take pictures in cardinal directions. We're going to document and write a report for every single thing, every point of knowledge we can, so that the next DoD team can see exactly how that IED was put together and in place.
This episode is brought to you by Alpine Optics. If you spend time in the outdoors, whether you're hunting, hiking, bird watching, or just taking in the view, good optics could make all the difference. Alpine builds binoculars and scopes that are clear, dependable, and made to handle real use in the field. Their image stabilizing binoculars are a favorite of mine. Even if you're glassing offhand or on the move, the view stays steady and sharp. It makes long sessions easier on your eyes and helps you watch things you'd otherwise miss. Whether you're spotting game or you just want to see the world a little clearer, Alpine's gear is built to bring the outdoors into focus. Check them out at alpineoptics.com. Whether you're trekking in the backcountry, bird hunting, or just chasing squirrels in the backyard, your dog needs fuel that can keep up with the adventure. And that's where Montana Dog Food comes in. Born in the heart of Big Sky Country, this isn't just dog food. It's adventure-grade nutrition. Crafted with responsibly sourced ingredients from the Western U.S. and freeze-dried to lock in every ounce of goodness, Montana Dog Food Company delivers clean, powerful fuel for your pup's wild side. No shortcuts, no synthetic junk, just premium, nutrition-packed meals and treats designed to support strong muscles, healthy joints, and endless energy, whether you're trekking trails or snuggling by the fire. So give your dog the food that fuels their adventurous spirit. Go to montanadogfoodco.com and feed your dog the best. Could you tell where the HME came from and who manufactured the homemade explosive?
Yeah, you can. So let me say this. I probably should say this. I was the youngest, most inexperienced guy of the 6 of us that went down there for this op. So we had 3 2-man EOD teams. I was there because we had such a heavy workload, my teammate and I, for that deployment, that I gained a lot of experience for exactly what we were encountering, not necessarily a lot of EOD experience. And so what you can do is have you ever gone to the airport and they have to swipe you down with this little piece of paper and they put it in this machine? Generally speaking, what that machine does is it puts light through that paper, and the shadow it creates tells them the chemical makeup of what's on that paper. So we have handheld versions of that.
Got it.
So if I take HME, I can scrape some off, put it on a little sampler, put it in this machine, it'll shoot light through it, and it'll tell it what the chemical makeup is. The majority of IEDs were some version of ammonium nitrate or urea nitrate and fuel oxidizer. So you're talking, it'd be like the prills out of fertilizer. That's what your ammonium and urea nitrate was. And then your fuel oxidizer would be diesel fuel, or what would be really hot and really used a lot was aluminum powder. And so most of our main charges were finely machined aluminum powder and those prills out of fertilizer ground up and mixed at like a 1-to-9 ratio. Basically, tannerite.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah, basically tannerite. And there was some other stuff. They would use other sensitive explosives they had to make for blasting caps.
Yeah.
But most of the main charges you could tell almost by looking at it. Like if it took on the color of the aluminum powder, chances are they mixed it real hot, but it was anal, A-N-A-L. If it was more white or yellow cakey, it was probably urea or ammonium nitrate and diesel fuel.
What was your mindset when when the EOD up call came out, because what I would do, I've been in a couple freeze situations, and it's very uncomfortable. And I only got uncomfortable during those freeze situations because I was just able to, just kind of ignore the external threat of IEDs altogether. But when you got out of that truck, what was your mindset? Was it just strictly like goal focused, or what were you thinking every time?
What was cool about Afghanistan is we did everything. So like what EOD was looked different. Like if we had a team of you guys come into our AO and they need to go get somebody, they're probably going to do it at night, and we're going to get in the back of their patrol, We're going to walk with them. And before they cross, what do we call it? A choke point, or like before they would enter a building or anything like that, unless they needed to kinetically breach it, unless they needed to blow the door off of it, which we didn't do a lot of that, they would have me come up and basically even use white light to like make sure there isn't an IED there. And if there is, I would work it in the most efficient way possible, which means I would try to get it to a place where it would not function as designed so they could continue their mission without making a lot of noise. So that's one version of EOD, to be on patrol with guys with a mission at hand. My job is secondary to their mission. If we're doing route clearance, my job's the primary mission, which is to go out through here, find the IEDs, and remove them. If we're doing a basic patrol with grunts, then the mission is passive. It's just to show presence. So if we find an IED, now I become the priority, and we're going to take that bomb apart or that IED apart. If it's route clearance, we're in trucks. If it's patrol, we're on foot. I never used a robot because unless we were doing route clearance, I didn't have my truck. And if I didn't have my truck, I didn't have my robot. So my mindset in any of those was keep everybody around me alive. That was it. That simple. Keep everybody alive. Make sure nobody's creeping up close because they're curious. Make sure I developed a cordon. Keep myself alive by making sure we've got guys going out in a spiraled circle. That way, if this ends up being a radio-controlled IED, they can find the trigger man before he blows me up. So you just have this checklist of what are your threats, what are your known threats in the area, and how have you mitigated them before you put yourself in danger.
I mean, I'm assuming they obviously put you through all kinds of training, and you probably have to go with somebody at some point. But like the first time you're out there by yourself, like trying to disarm one of these, were you ever just like, what in the hell am I doing?
No, that would come after the fact. That would be like you really do have. I was 24 years old.
What the fuck?
Listen,
am I doing?
How did I get myself into this?
What's funny is, these grunts, I knew what the IEDs were. I knew how they worked. I knew how to not get bit by them for the most part.
Sure.
These grunts just knew, like, hey, if I step in the wrong place, I'm going to get blown up.
Yeah.
And they're out there with a metal detector or a sniff dog, and they're just walking into the abyss, man.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah. Just blind allegiance to their platoon commander or patrol commander. And so those are the guys that you're like, man, those are balls of steel right there.
Sure.
It's like being like my dad made this analogy, and only some backwoods moonshiner from Georgia would. But he's like, oh, so it's like being a snake handler. I'm like, what?
You're going to get bit at some point.
He's like, well, if I go walking through the woods with a snake handler, that snake is just as poisonous or venomous to both of us. But the snake handler knows how to see it before I do, and he knows how not to get bit. I'm like, it's exactly like a snake handler, Dad.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I think for the most part, like you prep. You do your research. You train to ad nauseum, and that's why That's why EOD is this redheaded stepchild, because no other type of Marine has any idea what our training needs to look like, or how vigorous it needs to be, or how stressful it is.
Yeah.
And when you're training, you can't be like, oh, well, you're blown up.
Yeah.
You can't. So you have to create stressful environments. And so you train as much as you can. There weren't enough EOD techs in the Marine Corps at that time. So you're deploying with a dude that just got back.
Yeah.
So you lean on those guys that just came back. And what's crazy is he got back 8 months ago. The IEDs are different now.
It changed already.
Yeah. So you're constantly reading reports from the guys in Afghanistan or Iraq. And by the time you're there doing it, you really don't have time to second guess yourself. It really is just about, I know what my job is, I know how to do it, and I'm confident in that. And we have this saying, which I'm kind of a living example that there's some gray area, but we have this saying is initial success or total failure. Either I'm going to do it right and we're all happy, or I'm going to do it wrong and it's not my problem anymore. And that's kind of what you tell yourself. But you, in the back of your head, you're believing, oh, I'm going to
get it right.
Yeah, I'm going to get it right. Yeah. And I had a team leader that he had a different philosophy. So generally speaking, an EOD team in Iraq is a 3-man team in a truck with a robot. And if you're in the Army, a bomb suit even. Marine Corps, Navy didn't use a bomb suit as much. And so the idea there is your team leader is the guy that walks down the IED. He's done 2 or 3 deployments. Your assistant team leader, he's the guy that keeps eyes on your team leader and talks to him. He's done at least a deployment. Then your teammate, your team member, he's building charges, running the robot. He's in the truck most of the time. He's never done a deployment.
He's a new guy.
And you learn. When we get to Afghanistan, the truck goes away, the robot goes away. Now we need because the truck goes away, it can't be like a fire hall where it's like one EOD team covering a big area. Mm-hmm. Now we need an EOD team with every company on the ground. So we have 4, 5, 6 times more EOD techs in Afghanistan than Iraq. And now, because you're on patrol, if you find it, you work it. So if it's your first deployment and you're the nearest guy to the IED,
buckle up.
It's your job to work that IED.
You're getting thrown in the fire.
I mean, my very first patrol, I worked an IED on that deployment. And it was just a very different world.
Mm-hmm. EOD guys, some of my best friends are EOD guys. And there's just something about them. They're all just a little squirrely, And one of my buddies, Mike, we were in Afghanistan. I wasn't there on this op, but it goes into a choke point. Send the EOD guy down there, just like you explained. And you hear, shaboo, 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 3 of them. And we're like, once again, I was not there. My buddy Bob told me, he's like, then Mikey comes out, and we thought, for sure he was dead. Comes out, he just caught a little piece of shrapnel in his forearm, walks back to the side-by-sides and goes, well, found him.
Yep. That's it, man.
And then another one of my good buddies were in Iraq and sees something on the FLIR, or I think it was on the FLIR, heat signature up by the road. He crawls out of the back of the Stryker, goes up, comes back, and I was sitting by the ramp in the back of the Stryker, and walks in, and my platoon chief looks at him and goes, are we good? He looks at him and goes, should be. And then we're like, okay, so we're driving, and it's like, put your hand over your balls and open your mouth and hope for the best.
That's it, man. That's it. That's exactly right.
Should be.
Well, you always got to leave yourself an out, right? In the EOD, we say never, ever meet an expert, and if you do, run the other way. Because if you meet somebody that thinks they know everything, they're going to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. You got to keep yourself humble. It is funny. It's a weird culture. It's a cool culture. When you watch like Top Gun, mm-hmm. and they're out there on the beach and they're playing volleyball, most people watch that and all they think is those dudes, topless dudes that look good. Well, we didn't look like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, but we had a volleyball court at every EOD shop. We had a beer fridge at every EOD shop. And if you mess up on the range, if you do something that legitimately could have killed someone, how can I punish you for that, right? Like I can't do a commensurate punishment. You feel worse than anybody else. Mm-hmm. I'm going to charge you a case of beer. Mm-hmm. Then we had a beer lamp outside our commander's office. And anytime somebody got hit overseas, usually killed in action, he wouldn't say a word. He'd go out, light the beer lamp. Mm-hmm. OJIT on the job training, like a low-level guy, whoever it was, walk by, sees the beer lamp, they start letting all the team leaders know, hey, beer lamp's lit. Whatever you're doing, you stop right there. Somebody goes, usually an OJIT, goes and gets the burgers, and you're going to drink beer and play volleyball for the rest of the day. And that's how you level the stress. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how it works. Mm-hmm. It's a very old and traditional and fun culture, and I don't know how we've been able to keep it alive as long as we have.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know about Marine Corps EOD till deep into my career. I met someone, they're like, oh yeah, he's a Marine and he's a EOD guy. And the first thing I said is, I don't think there is EOD guys in the Marine Corps. And but then eventually learned about you guys. But we never went anywhere without EOD guys.
Yeah,
ever. And because you guys are a very, very crucial part to our load plan, 100%. Because I can make a bomb, but I have no clue how to take one apart. Right.
And that's the difference. Like we have combat engineers. The Army has sappers. Mm-hmm. The Navy probably has some version of that. Like someone that's trained specifically to use conventional bulk explosives as tools, breach a door, even to disrupt or dispose of a mine or something. The other side of it is to reverse engineer what the enemy put there and to understand that and have that knowledge base and how to use explosives as tools for that. So it's just a deeper, more technical and more creative understanding of any explosive hazard. If you go and you find chemical weapons in Iraq, which they said they had, it's disputed, we have to have a good enough basis of knowledge of the chemicals inside that to know how to move it, dispose of it, and handle it. Mm-hmm. So we go through biological and chemical training in EOD school, and we have to understand exactly how a nerve agent works, how a blood agent works, what the symptoms are, because if we're handling something that isn't marked, we don't know it's a chemical round, and somebody starts having a reaction, we have to know how to mitigate that, neutralize it. And then nukes and radiological devices. You learn a hip pocket version of nuclear physics.
Sure.
And that's what I loved about EOD school. It's a year long. You're on this train and it's churning down the tracks. If you fail a test, you retake it immediately. If you fail it twice, you're pulled out of school. You're technically kicked out of school. You got to have an 85 or better to pass the test. So everything that'll kill you is a 16-point hit. And that's how they create that stress and urgency that can only be felt if, like, I mess up, I get blown up. So the school process is really cool. Each service decides for itself the culture and responsibility of EOD. But all 4 services go to the same basic school, which is on an Air Force base, ran by the Navy, funded by the Army, and there's a lot of Marine instructors. And so it's a really cool, like, way for all services to once you become an EOD tech, like, you're in a different fraternity.
Do most EOD techs have a kickback personality? Because all the ones I've met seem pretty laid back.
Yeah, a lot of them are. There's 2 different types of EOD techs. There's an EOD tech, which does a lot of alerting, because in the Marine Corps, we get the responsibility of alerting conventional ordnance. Does a lot of technical stuff. He's in the pubs all the time,
Okay.
the publications. Like, he has a very technical and historical knowledge. Those guys may be a little bit more uptight. And then there's an EOD tech that's done a bunch of tours to Iraq or Afghanistan, and we call those IED techs. And those are the guys that are only alive because the enemy messed up a time or two. If you've ever deployed as an EOD tech to an area with IEDs, like, you should have died. That's just the truth. Like, the only reason you lived through every IED you worked is the enemy messed up. Those guys have probably lost a teammate or a grunt or an engineer. They're different. They're different. Like, we don't necessarily look down on the EOD guys that didn't deploy a lot or didn't deploy in a kinetic environment unless they, like, ran away from it. Some guys do.
Yep.
Some of them were just too senior to really have that job by then. But we needed those to keep the mission alive, because now that the war's died down, it's not IEDs anymore. It's, explosive drones and underwater drones, and very technical again. So the young guys are going to drift towards those guys more than us. But my generation, whose primary experience were IEDs, very different personality.
Yeah, I would have to assume the more senior you get and the more experience you have, your demeanor changes because of all the adversity you've been through and the iterations of, oh, well, this could kill me. And you live through that so many times, you automatically get kicked back, a kickback mentality.
It's
right?
weird. Like, in one deployment, your personality changes, especially when you're a young guy like me. I'd done an OJT EOD deployment where I'd worked with the team and watched them. I was there as their security and put in a package and moved into their job field on a 10-month Iraq deployment. So it was my second deployment with EOD, but my first deployment as a school-trained tech that was going hands-on. And so the beginning of my deployment was, I can't wait till the next IED.
Yeah.
And there's just this moment, and it's different for everybody. I remember mine definitively, where it went from, I can't wait till the next IED to, I hope there isn't another IED. It's like, I can see going home on the horizon. I don't need to die today. I'm good. I've worked my IEDs. Like, I'm good. You don't get scared of them. You can't let yourself get there. But you get a more mature understanding. Like, hey, if it's there, I'll do it, but I'm not hungry for it. My mentor, Floyd Hawley, told me, which he ended up dying 2 weeks later, but just a couple days before I got hit, he said, look, if you've worked one IED, you've worked 100. Don't go looking for more. Don't go looking for reasons to die.
So you go down to the village, you're getting close, taking some small arms fire, recon by fire, and then did you find that IED, or how did it all take place?
Yeah, we worked IEDs for like 5-6 days. I think it was the 6th morning when I got hit. So we had combat engineers who, like I said, their traditional job is to clear minefields. And we don't really have traditional minefields anymore, so it becomes IEDs. Now it's an EOD job. But we worked with them, trained them on the IEDs so they could help find them and then bring us to the IED without us getting hurt. And so one of the engineers I worked with, Daniel Greer, was from Ashland, Tennessee. He's a full-time fireman, a reserve engineer. And he's a great guy. I became good friends with him. And so he woke us up on the 6th morning. They were out doing their job. They were looking through a building that we thought was full of IED components, and it used to be, but it's not anymore because they're in the ground now. And they found some conventional U.S. ordnance. So it was like, hey, Sergeant Jones, we need you to come check this out. And so it was just stuff that the enemy had recovered off the battlefield, and we're repurposing either as a container or the explosives in them. And so we get over there, and there's this pathway. I thought, like, in my recollection, it was a lot wider, but I just saw pictures of it the other day, and it was only about 10 or 15 foot wide. And we're going into these storage units from the back door, basically, because the front door is a little too obvious. And we go in there, and my teammate finds this thing called a Lutu, which is a giant, it looks like a bomb, but it's really just a big candle. You light it up in the sky, a parachute comes down slow. It's like an aluminum round. Mm-hmm. And you're using it to light up the battlefield. And so, you know, they're not high explosives. So you're not too worried about them, but they really are pretty dangerous because they dud fire a lot. And we didn't know the state of this one. My teammate picked it up, put it on his shoulder, and he walked it across that pathway and he put it down behind a wall. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, man, I had that as a problem in school, and we're not supposed to move those because they could literally turn into a giant candle at any moment. So my teammate went to report on some of the other stuff we found to get some help with that. So I walked over to make sure this thing wasn't like dud fired. And so Daniel Greer was over my right shoulder. I leaned over this wall, looked in the back of it. And first I told Daniel to get a little bit more distance. And he's like, man, everything on the other side of that wall, we haven't been there, and the snipers love to kill you guys. So I'm going to stay here at the ready in case we take fire. I was like, good call. So I wasn't expecting there to be an IED there. They'd already been up and down this path several times that morning. They had cleared it the way we had taught them. We considered it safe to walk on. And I leaned over, I looked at it, put my flashlight up. It was in daylight, but I was using my flashlight to see down in the back of it. And I took a step my right foot to talk to Daniel, and I stepped on an IED.
Jeez.
So they had buried most of the IED underneath this wall, and they were almost using it as a directional charge. Yeah. When a blast blows up, it goes in a 360 sphere. If it hits something hard, it's going to bounce off that and go back in the other direction. So they put it up in the corner of this wall so that when it blew up, it pushed everything towards the path. So Daniel was over my right shoulder when I stepped on it, and that blast actually hit him harder than me.
Damn.
Because what hit me pushed me up and I left. Mm-hmm. He was up against that wall. That blast bounced off the wall and went towards him and hit him. And so it knocked him out. He's laying on his belly. I landed on my back, and it threw me about 10 yards back uphill. So I'm laying there, my legs are gone. I look down, I see Daniel's now in front of me instead of behind me. And he's laid on his belly looking back at me. Then I realized, oh, shit, I stepped on an IED. I looked down, my legs were gone. So my reaction was to reach up and grab a tourniquet with my right arm off my left shoulder. We put those tourniquets like in your core because if you have them any further out, they're going to go flying with what you need them for. So I reached up to grab a tourniquet, and my right arm was almost severed.
Really?
So when I reached up, my hand, like all this just was hung down like spaghetti. My hand collapsed back into my belly. I'm like, shit, you know. My left arm was twisted around behind me, so I don't have any way of helping myself. So I'm surveying the scene. I see Daniel down there. I'm like, well, shit, you know, it looks like he's all right, just knocked out. Finally, some Marines got to us. They came in with a litter. The Marine starts working on me. They get to Daniel, and they actually take Daniel out first. And like triage is, you take the worst first unless the worst isn't going to make it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, either Daniel's worse than I think or I'm really bad. Mm-hmm. And long story short, woke up in launch school 2 days later. I didn't have legs. They had salvaged both my arms, and they told me Daniel was 3 or 4 doors down. They were taking him off life support. A piece of that wall hit him in the head underneath the helmet, took his brain activity away.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was that day.
I'm sorry, my friend.
No, me too.
Yeah. Wow. So you don't remember, you know, the Casovac out or anything like that?
Some of it I do. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Those life flight guys are amazing, man.
Yeah, Black Hawk pilots are the ballsiest guys in the military.
Yeah.
They'll come in, RPGs, heavy machine gun fire. They'll land chopping tree limbs with the rotors. They don't care. Yeah. If there's somebody there that needs to come out, they're going to come get that dude.
Mm-hmm. Those guys, I was on a base at FOB Wolverine that, and I'm messing this up, it's not life flight. It's called something else. Dust off.
Dust off.
Yep. And help those guys, you know, unload some guys and, you know, just see their work. And I helped them that one day. There's some Army guys that were very, very badly hurt with an IED, and a couple of them, you know, didn't make it. And I was helping those guys off the bird and to get medical attention. And then they're over there washing off. And then I ride that helo, back to our base, because it was a different base, maybe like, I don't know, 15 miles away. And we had just got back from an op, and I ride in that bird back to our base. And then they have to clean it out afterwards and everything. And I just couldn't do that job.
Yeah, just think about being like a nurse or a corpsman,
couldn't do it.
a medic on one of those.
Yeah.
Everything you see is like mangled and mauled.
Yeah.
Most guys you're working on don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really kind of crazy to think that that's somebody's job for 6-8 months.
Yeah.
And then the pilots, like they're putting themselves and their team, their lives in danger every time they go in and save somebody. They don't think twice about it. My father-in-law was a Huey pilot in Vietnam. He said they come into somewhere hot, be getting shot at, and like trying to get as many guys out of there as they can. Because this is like they're like, hey, we're overran. Got some of them are injured. They start piling on there. Now it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And so there's not enough lift in those engines to like just pull it up off the ground and let it go. So what they have to do is they have to get up as much as they could. And they'd kill the power and they'd literally bounce it. And they'd use that bounce to get lift. Yeah.
Dude, that has to be uncomfortable.
I don't know if a pilot thought that it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Test this theory out.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy.
So you make it back home and, your life, as you knew it, kind of changed forever, right? And so where'd that leave you? What'd you end up doing?
Yeah, it left me with no legs and a big smile, man. It's the tools I got left, right? Get in the gym and work those arms out. My right arm didn't work for a while. We had to. They literally stapled the nerves down and used stem cells to grow the nerves back together. So this stayed open for about 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. Like this finger was cut off at the knuckle and they built a cofferdam around it and put a rod in and they grew it back with stem cells.
It's wild.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And like, stem cells we recover from unused embryos. And so they made that illegal.
Yes.
Well, what they learned is that a pig's DNA is so close to ours that they could modify pig stem cells and use that. So that's what they used. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like
Yeah.
the one good thing about getting all, screwed up by the military is, you get to be a part of the experiments.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Like, let's see if this will work.
It's a lab rat.
And so anyway, they grew my nerves back together and I did a lot of therapy, more therapy on this right hand than my legs, and got it working again. So I got injured August 6, 2010. Started college in October. I looked like Stephen Hawking. My arms didn't work. I didn't have legs. I had this little microphone and I could talk my notes and my papers into my computer in my little go-go gadget chair. I just really, I just found out I had a son before I deployed, and I got back together with my high school sweetheart while I was deployed. So it's like I left with like in really good shape, a career of taking bombs apart ahead of me. And I came back and now I've got a family and no legs, basically, is what it was. It's like I got to figure something out. I can't be a Marine taking bombs apart anymore. So I went right into college, got injured in August, started college in October, started walking in February, and started working on Capitol Hill in July. So 11 months later from injury, I was recovered, independent, living in an apartment outside of the hospital, waiting on all of the paperwork to catch up, and volunteering my time on Capitol Hill. So that first year was, it was bam, bam, bam.
Quick transition.
Yeah. But it was healthy.
Probably,
It was
probably helped you.
Yeah. That's the thing. You can't just sit there and dwell on it.
Yeah.
I met guys that were, and I say this reluctantly because everybody's their own situation, but I met guys that weren't injured as debilitative, like as bad as me.
Yeah.
That stayed there for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And, it's not like I'm better than them. I had support. I had the right kind of support from my peers to my family, and apparently they didn't.
Yeah, I've seen situations change guys, and not for the better. And I think it's guys just get stuck, and they don't know what the next step is.
Get comfortable too.
Yep, and in that comfortable in doing a lot of unhealthy things, right?
Yeah.
And then most guys I know are on the mend now, right? But this is 15 years later.
Yeah, it's a 2-decade journey.
Exactly, and that battle that they have fought mentally, my heart goes out to them, man. To be in that headspace is a tough headspace to be in, and it takes motivation to get out. And you have to want to be better. You have to want to better yourself. You have to have inspiration. You have to have goals. And so I'm glad you jumped back on the horse. Right away.
Yeah, motivation is like shit you buy at the convenience store right next to the register. Responsibility, that's the nutrition. That's the soul food. Like you can listen to a video and get motivated, or like see yourself in the mirror and think, man, I'd like to look better than that. Be motivated for a couple of days. Responsibility never goes away. It's there all the time. It's there 24/7. And you can look at responsibility and be like, oh my God, this is so much. Everybody relies on me and wants me to do something. But if you really give it perspective, it's like, man, that's a receipt for how important you are in this world, right? Like when you have responsibility, that's like, that means there are people in this world that look at you and only you to do a thing or be a person or to accomplish a task. Like there are things out there that other humans look to you and only you to do, and they have full faith in you to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what more could you ask for back to know that you have value than responsibility? Mm-hmm. And if you look at it that way, then it becomes fun. It's not stressful. It's not insurmountable. It's one day at a time. And I think for me, it was that responsibility of, well, I got a son now. I've got this girl I might want to get serious with. My parents weren't in a bad place, but they weren't in a good place, so they needed me. Mm-hmm. Like all these people that I had a space in their life before I got hurt, like they still needed that version of me after I got hurt. So the only thing between me and being that guy again is getting through this recovery. So it was the job, you know. Mm-hmm.
Well, good job on that for sure, man. That's a very quick turnaround. Did anyone tell you to slow down? You're going too quick?
It was kind of weird at that time. And we had, what was his name? Dan Knost. And we called him Lieutenant Dan because he was a Navy ensign. Mm-hmm. And he was a SEAL, I believe. He lost both legs above the knee. Mm-hmm. And like he was just burning it, right? Like he was just like, I'm going to go run a marathon next week. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I was quick compared to some guys, but other guys much quicker than me, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like everybody's on their own pace. The therapists, the doctors and stuff, like they wanted you, like, you know, because they see it from a technical side. Hey, that's healed up. You can use it. Yeah. Like it just, can you withstand the pain and frustration to do it quick? Mm-hmm. So as long as I wasn't hurting myself, they were all about it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Push.
So I know I've read your old book, or your first book, Unbroken. Yeah. Correct? Yeah. That actually, I read that. Then my wife, Katie, read it. Great book. And now you have another one out.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
I mean, did you think in high school when you're getting that 2.5, I'm going to be an author at some point in my life?
Dude, I live near my hometown and I meet teachers out town. They're like, what? What the hell happened? They're like, what happened to you? They're like, apparently a couple of wars will change a man. I don't know. Well, this book here, Behind the Badge, it's #1 New York Times bestseller. First 3 weeks it was out.
Hell yeah. Congratulations.
So, real proud of that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Unbroken Bonds of Battle, my first book, was kind of a collaborative idea. And it was, hey, you know, people develop these bonds. And I think the publisher had this idea of like, think of like The English Patient, where people find their wife or they bond with a dog. And they were thinking of these individual specific relationships. And they were working with Pete Hegseth to do it. And he was moving on. Obviously, now we know what too. Yep. And so they came to me and was like, hey, we have this idea of a book. Would you want to write it? And I said, well, I want to write a book. And I like the idea, but it's not individual relationships. It's individuals who have these relationships. And it might be 1, it might be 10. So Unbroken Bonds of Battle is 9 service members and Daniel Greer's widow. And it was the relationships in their lives that got them through the tough times, the good times, and in between. Wow. And then that book did really well. And people loved getting 10 different stories with one narrator. And of course, because I'm a storyteller, so I'm weaving, hey, this person learned this lesson. This is how I learned it in my life. So I'm weaving my own experience in there because I have no appetite to write a memoir for Joey Jones. Like they get enough of me. Mm-hmm. And but it was a chance for me to brag on my buddies. That book did really well. And almost immediately, I knew there was another book I wanted to write very similar for first responders because this story just doesn't get told. Mm-hmm. And so I look at my immediate life, my hunting buddies, my brother-in-law, his best friend that's been like an uncle to me since I was 3 years old. That's chapter 1 and chapter 2 right there. Guys I deployed with that became an Indiana State Trooper. The main game warden that hauled me around on his back when I went moose hunting. The only game warden to have to use his firearm in the line of duty ever. Rescue recovery diver for 10 years, then a rescue recovery dog handler for the rest of his career, 20-year career, won multiple awards, seen some of the craziest stuff you can think of. And I just going down the line of these people I had really close to my network that had extraordinary stories. And so now we have 9 first responders, police, fire, game warden, border patrol, sheriff's deputy, state trooper. And it's just, they're all people I know really well. They're my buddies. They're my friends. I hunt with them. I've known them for years and had a chance to write a book and let them tell their story. If there's a goal there, it's pretty simple. It's like when we get up and leave our house in the morning, we don't think about, man, if this place catches on fire, I won't be able to put it out by myself. Mm-hmm. If we go to an intersection, like this example's in there, but not in these words. I know these people well, so I know the whole story. Think about taking your kids to school in the morning, driving through an intersection that you scraped someone else's kid off of last night. Mm-hmm. Your battlefield is where you live. You see the worst that happens to people and the worst people can do to each other as an occupation for 12 to 24 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
And how do you overcome that psychologically? Like, how do you see that and not want to wrap your family up in like padding and leave them inside your house, right? Like, not let bad things happen to them. How do you reconcile that even for yourself to go out and enjoy life? And the truth is, for some of them, it's really, really difficult, and they're still working on it.
I can imagine so, because, when we deployed to a foreign land, right? We're fighting a foreign enemy.
That's right.
And you come home and it's, life went on without you, but you can catch back up once you get in stride right away, right?
That's
and
exactly right.
It's safe, you're in the United States, and it's just a very comfortable feeling, right? When you come home from a kinetic deployment. But these guys are battling this fight in their own neighborhood sometimes.
That's exactly right. Most of them in the town they grew up in.
Yeah.
It's crazy you think about, like, just the example you just used. I say, like, the worst days of our lives is another day on the job for them. I opened the book talking about my dad. He came down. My grandmother just passed away. We bumped Thanksgiving to the right a week because of it. He and my mom came down. He'd been suffering from COPD. Wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My mom's in there screaming bloody murder. My dad's laid out on the floor. He'd got up, go in the bathroom, and then walking back around the bed, fell on the floor, quit breathing. My sister starts CPR. I jump out of my wheelchair. I start chest compressions so she can breathe. He's already urinated on himself, which is not a good sign. And firefighters get there. Most small towns, firefighters are EMTs certified. They either ride the meat wagon, which is the ambulance, on their days off, or literally it's firefighters in the ambulance to get there. Like, so firefighting and EMT go hand in hand most of the time. 80 some odd % of firefighter calls are medical calls. So firefighters come in with their med bags. They start working on him. I get out of the way. They work on him. They get him in an ambulance, take him to the hospital. Get to the hospital. They put him on life support. He's not dead yet. Ended up being that he was brain dead. So 24 hours later, I had to pull the plug on him. A week or two later, I'm getting in my truck. And, I got the leg, so I'm easy to spot and remember. This guy walks up to me in uniform. He's a captain or a battalion chief, something. And he walks up and he's like, hey, I was the commander or captain on scene that night. How'd it turn out with your dad? I said, he didn't make it. And you see the look on his face, he's like sad, but you could also see the look of like, he might have went on 2 other calls that night. You know what I mean? Like, that's just his job. And to think about, like, the worst day of my life really was just another shift for him, but he still cared. He still carried that weight. Yeah. He remembered it 2 weeks later and wanted to know how it turned out, hoping they had done their job and saved him. And by all intents and purposes, they did. They gave me a chance to say goodbye to him. And to think, like, that's their job every day, every single shift, that's their job. And then police officers, you're doing it. And now you've got on top of that, do I have to take a life to save a life? If I do that and I do it morally and ethically, are they still going to come after me? Sure. And so it's just like, one, it's like, well, why would you do that job? 2, it's like, how do you do that job? 3, it's like, how do you have a life after you do that job? And those are the questions I wanted to ask, and these folks answered.
That's great.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
And thank you for honoring, our first responders, because I could not do the job primarily because of my brother was a cop, my dad was a cop, and the horror stories I have heard from them, mainly about children.
Yeah.
I just can't digest that. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
No,
so
I could, you go into a house
and
it's like you go into a house, it's domestic violence call, and it's like the kids haven't been touched, but the mom's been beat up in front of them. But she's sticking to her story. I fell down the stairs. You can only do so much. You got to leave.
Yeah. You
leave doing everything you can to fix that situation, knowing you can't fix it. And it's not just her that's getting hurt; it's those kids too.
Yeah.
And so the other side of it is you do save people. You show up. If you showed up 30 seconds too late, that person would have died, and they didn't. So it's the extreme of both.
Yeah.
And we're real lucky in this country that we have people that choose to do it and dedicate 30 years to doing it.
Yeah. I can't wait to read it. So, what's next? What's next for Joey Jones?
Yeah, well,
I know you're going skydiving today.
Yeah,
you're jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
I gotta call yourself like, hey, I want you to jump out of a plane tomorrow. This stuff will do to be on camera, man. I'm telling you what. When you're a peacock, and you want to show your feathers, you'll do anything. I'm telling you, man. No, we're doing a series now called. Well, I don't want to say the name because I don't know if it's cleared, but we're doing a series specifically on veterans who get out of the military and start a business. That entrepreneurship. Just the passion to have a mission in life after service, to do something that people can be a part of. It's really, really cool to see what veterans do. And you know this as well as any with Outsider, like how creative and unique veterans are when they're no longer rank and file. And the job, the jobs they find and the businesses they start, and just how American it is. So we've got that'll come out on Fox Nation. If you turn on Fox News Channel any day of the week, chances are you'll see me filling in for somebody. So it's just a fun time right now.
Excellent, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to watching this show, no matter what it's called, and having a little part in it. So thank you for coming out today. And Behind the Badge, check it out. It's already out. New York Times #1 bestseller.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it right away. So, and I appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Absolutely, guys.
Thank you.
For having
It was
me.
fun.
Yeah.